I've set so many goals every single year, and I honestly don't often complete them. When January comes, there's often a new year, new me kind of pressure that sets in and can feel really, really overwhelming. You might get super excited, accomplish a million things, then February comes and you drop off. Part of the problem is that a lot of our goals are based off of external pressures or things that we feel like we should be doing instead of coming from our own hearts, our minds, and our values. And so today we're going to be talking about what setting goals might look like for you in 2026, where it feels aligned with who you are. When goals come from external pressures, it can often lead to a lot of self-criticism or feelings of burnout. But I don't want you to have that mindset where you constantly need to be comparing yourself to other people or creating a goal that aligns with somebody else and not who you are. I want you to have some tools in your pocket to create goals that align with what you have ambitions for. Not just to-do lists, but things that get you excited to live your life. There are three things I want you to focus on as you think about your goals for 2026. Your values, your self-compassion, and sustainable habits. By the way, if you don't know me already, I'm Elena. I'm a psychotherapist, and I really love helping people work through their life transitions and find what is meaningful to their own lives. So I'm really excited to jump into this topic and explore what goal setting looks like, or maybe that looks like a vision board. We'll get into all of those different ideas together. So let's first talk about our mindset. Reflect on your why. When I'm asking this, I am wondering what are some of the things that you connect to most when setting your goals? Do you truly value connection, creativity, your health, growth, and self-improvement? Or maybe you want to work on being more mindful and present. So what might be helpful for you is to grab a journal right now, pause this video, and list 3 to 5 core values of your own. For me, my core values this year are my business and my health. So a lot of what I want to work on is how I can grow my therapy practice, grow my YouTube channel, and also work on my own personal health goals as I live with PCOS and I'm struggling with insulin resistance and a few other things. So I'm working on my health in a few different ways. After you've identified some of your core values, it might be helpful to work towards identity-based goals instead of goals that are focusing on what you want to get. Therefore, we want to focus on who we want to be instead of what we want to get. For example, a lot of people set goals to lose weight every year. We want to take the example of losing 10 pounds as the thing that people often want to get. They want to get that specific outcome. It might be more helpful to you, depending on your personality and what feels good to you, to maybe set an identity-based goal instead. So instead of losing 10 pounds, your goal changes to becoming a person that prioritizes their health. So now we're changing from what can I get to who am I going to be? Another way of looking at this is changing from outcome to identity. Those two words are really helpful for me to conceptualize. Am I focused on an outcome, a result, or am I focused on the process of becoming who I want to be, what my identity is? If you prefer more numerical ways to identify goals, that's okay too. Experiment and find what works for you. Another thing that I think is important when starting with a positive mindset for the new year is to not go into the all or nothing thinking. If I don't get all the outcomes that I want, I am awful and unsuccessful. Or you might think, if I achieve everything, then I'll finally feel perfect and like I'm who I'm meant to be. All of this all or nothing thinking really traps us and makes us feel really critical of ourselves. Instead, we want to look at the new year as a landmark, as a fresh start. It's simply a point on a timeline where we could look at ourselves and reflect. Nothing more than that. We don't have to add pressure to that. Instead, we can say, this is a new, fresh start for me. Let's see what I can do. And if I don't complete everything, that's all right. It doesn't mean I'm any less valuable or worthless as a person. I can simply reflect and move forward. Next, it's important for us to think about what kind of framework we want to have for our goals. You may have heard the term SMART, that acronym that tells us that goals should be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Using the SMART acronym helps us make sure that we set up goals that are really specific to our values. For example, a SMART goal might look like I am going to practice self-compassion exercises for at least 3 minutes every morning after I brush my teeth. This is a super specific goal where I'm attaching it to a habit that I already have. So that's known as habit stacking when you are adding on something that you already do. I'm attaching a self-compassion exercise to brushing my teeth to make it easier for me to remember. I'm being really specific about what I'm doing. So maybe I'm choosing the specific self-compassion exercise that I really like. And I'm saying how long I'm doing that for. I'm going to do 3 to 5 minutes of self-compassion exercises. So a lot of that feels attainable because it's not, oh, I'm going to write a book in 1 hour or I'm going to practice self-compassion and feel like I'm just the most incredible person in the world afterwards. I'm not biting off more than I can chew. So it's attainable, it's specific, it has that time measurement in there. It can make it more easy to visualize yourself being successful when we use that SMART acronym. However, if you don't want to use that and you need a little bit more flexibility in your goal setting, experiment with that too. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing. You have to find what aligns with who you are as a person. And that means trying things on for a while, seeing how that fits for 30 days. Maybe after that, try something else or something different. Just try on the different hat of goal setting and see what fits. The other piece is to make your goals smarter. So we talked about specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound, but there's another E and another R that might be helpful to you. Make it enjoyable and make it rewarding or ritualized. Something that gives you that beautiful boost that either makes you feel filled with joy or relaxed. You get some kind of emotional reward. I often find that when I'm really consistent with my routine, I get that dopamine hit as a reward. It feels so good to accomplish things, check things off my list of dreams, and keep moving forward. And there are so many ways that you can brainstorm your different goals. For me, I love writing things out in my journal. I talk about journaling all the time with my clients and just with anybody else that will listen to me. I love creating a lot of different brainstorms and bubbles to let out all of my ideas. And then what I did this year is create a month by month goal plan for 2026. So I set out goals for the year, and then I broke things out into much smaller chunks for January, February, and all the way through December of 2026. Doing this helps me feel more organized. It also helps me feel like my goals are not so massive because I've broken them into smaller parts. You can call this partialization, you can call this chunking. All that means is that you are taking big tasks and making them smaller and more manageable for you. You could also create something on Canva or do the old-fashioned way where you actually get some paper, pencils, crayons, magazine clippings, and make your own vision board. It really depends on whatever you like to do. For me, I do a combination of things. I start with journaling to get out a lot of my ideas. Then I might put them into a document or a spreadsheet digitally. And then I might create something visual. I often go on Canva and experiment with different images there because I'm not super crafty physically, but I like creating something digital. You might want to put that on your desktop on your computer so that you could stare at it every day. A problem that I've run into by not really achieving my goals year after year is that I don't look at them often. That's part of why I was drawn to creating a month by month plan this year because I think it'll help me look at it every day instead of create my list and then never look at it again for the rest of the year. And then when I do my reflection, I'm like, man, I didn't complete anything that I wanted to. And then I start beating myself up. And we don't want to be beating ourselves up because it's okay if we didn't get to everything. We want to practice self-compassion. And that goes into my next point that perfectionism really is the enemy of progress. It's the enemy of compassion. When we're trying to be perfect and check off every single box and complete every single task, we put ourselves in a really critical place. Setbacks or relapses, they're often just things that happen. Try to see those setbacks as data points where you can learn from them and gain from them and as a way to move forward instead of feeling like, oh my goodness, I failed and I should just stop trying and give up. When we have that harsh inner critic, we often end up giving up prematurely. So it's really important for us to practice using our self-compassion toolkit. And if you're not familiar with some self-compassion practices, I do have a course available on Udemy, which I will link in the description for you. That course is a really great supplement to therapy if you're already in therapy, or if you're not ready for therapy yet and you want to learn some mental health tools to help you in your journey. Again, I want us to reframe lapses not as failures, but as data points and as a way to have an opportunity to grow. We can take those as lessons to adjust our plan and move accordingly. And that's another point. You can adjust your plan. Sometimes I set goals in January that don't really align with me by April. So I might create another new vision board, another journaling process that feels more aligned with me, and that's okay. Perfectionism might tell you, oh no, you still have to complete what you said in January. But then you might end up in this self-criticism cycle over and over again. So find what aligns with you. So if you've made it all the way through this video, we've talked about creating value-based goals, using the smarter goal framework, and using self-compassion over self-criticism. I would love if you shared in the comments one value and one micro goal that you want to work on in 2026. Let's cheer each other on and try to be the best selves that we can be. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and also check out my downloadable resources in my Ko-fi shop. I hope you have a fantastic day and thank you so much for watching.